the test number 3, Proctor U test number 3 over this weekend, 22nd and 23rd. And it'll cover modules, let's check it again, modules 5, 6, 7. That's modules 5, working with multiple worksheets and workbooks. Module 6, sorting, filtering subtotals, inserting slicer, working with name ranges or name range names. Either way is fine. And module 7, count if, sum if, average if, pivot table, pivot chart, and more VLOOKUP of an if function appeared as well. So there's mostly those stuff, but I'm pretty sure more on module 6 and 7. Maybe less on module 5 because it requires multiple worksheets. So the chances are more on module 6 and 7. Just, give you some hint. So we're going to go over this sample questions from the previous semesters. Any questions? Anybody have any questions? The review for the test 3 I was just talking about. That's from the test and quizzes. Then you'll find review for test 3. So it talks about what exactly it's going to cover. Then in terms of, I think I should have been the student view, just a second. Review for test 3. Okay, that's something that's what we're gonna look at. Okay, review for test 3. And the first file we're gonna open up will be employment. And I already started to save some time, so just don't worry about this slicers. So we'll talk about that later. So this is the main worksheets, lists. List is the list of employees. Okay, we have employee ID, names, and the information about pay grade, pay type, even salary, health plan, how many years served, age. Then we're going to work on starting from column N through R, I believe. Okay, that's what we're going to work on based on those columns already given. Okay, so there you go. So it's just save as whatever it says. Then from the lists, worksheets, format the column as follows. So I did it, just format higher date column or the short date, birth date, make it short date as well, annual salary, accounting number format. So that's pretty much straightforward. So that's what I have it here, annual salary, and dates are formatted column C and D, okay? And here, step 4, insert an Excel table named master data. Okay, so as you can see, this is already table, so I already inserted, but inserting table, you go to insert tab, then you click table. Okay, so I already header table, that's why it's grayed out. Okay. For example, here, assuming this is the one, but you go to insert, then you click table, then ask you to save it, then you click OK. Then you go to table name box and type the table name you want to save it as. In this case, master data, right? So we're not doing to this one, but you need to do it from lists, okay? So that I save it as a master data, okay? So this entire area now becomes master data. Instead of, you can, instead of you refer as A1 through R or S, I don't know, 100 something. So rather than doing it, we just call this entire area as master data so that we can use it as a reference. Okay, so that's the step 4.
Question.
Yes.
I inserted that table, and once I took the filters off, it doesn't seem like when I went back into the Excel worksheet, it's on auto save. I can't tell if my table's there or not. It doesn't have up in the upper left-hand corner where the table name should be. It doesn't come up master data anymore.
If you look at the tab here, you should have table design tab. Okay, so that's tell you whether your table is still on. See that table design tab? I know it's small, but so that you can select all those options. So that's for the table.
So, but when you're back on that sheet, that table name doesn't stay, does it? It goes away?
No, it's depending on where you're going to click. If you click Table Design tab, yeah, it is there. But if you click other tabs, no, it's not, because you're working on something else. But if you see Table Design tab right here in this area, then your table is good.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Okay, where are we? There you go. Yeah, okay, so we have an Excel table, okay. Then, like I said, we're going to fill this in the N through R, but I already did it to save some time. So starting from N, which is life insurance premium, using F function, okay. Let me just put this away. So to determine life insurance premium for each employee, we're going to use this 0.2% for people older than 40. So age is the variable here. So age is greater than 40, it's going to get 0.2% times annual salary. Age is less than or equals to 40, then the person will get 0.1% of the annual salary in terms of life insurance premium. Meaning it's lower and higher for the people older than 40. Okay, so that's the condition. So I know it's a little bit hard to understand because we have a structural reference because we have Excel table, and you can have it like what is it? Age is L. Age is L. My age is M, right? We can use as M2 greater than 40, but I think I can made it. Let's just do it then. M2, so that you understand that's age. Then annual salary times, if again the age is greater than 40, then you get 0.2%, that's the X9, okay? And you get the absolute cell reference for that. Same thing otherwise, meaning that age is less than or equals to 40, you get 0.1% as stated in X10 and with the dollar sign. Okay, so that's what we get. That's why we got these answers in terms of the amount, 108, 66, and so forth. Okay, so that's the step 7. No, step 5 actually. Yeah, step 5. Step 6 I just crossed out. But why not just try it? That's using if or function. So we have two conditions this time. One is years of service. How many years you served? Years service is greater than 5, or job status. The different job status, full-time, part-time, and probably CN. CN stand for maybe contract. But anyway, so that's what we're going to have. So if one of these conditions is satisfying, you get 5% of the salary. Otherwise, you get 0. What is it? This is 401k, plan that they're gonna, the company will give it to you. So here we go. Column O. Again, years of service is located in L. So years of service greater than or equals to, or job status is job status FT, meaning full-time. Then it'll give you 5% in terms of 401k. Otherwise, you get 0. Okay, so using if or function, meaning satisfying this condition or the other condition. Okay, it can be if and if you want to make it two conditions must be satisfied at the same time, right? That's another type of if and condition. Then if you run it, this, and there you go, you get 2,700, 0, and so forth, because this person may not satisfy one of those two conditions, and so forth. All right, so that was step 6, the step that crossed out. So more likely it's not going to appear. So you don't have to worry about if or if and for that matter. Okay, 7. Bonus. This time we're going to use H lookup. VLOOKUP, H lookup, same thing, but just the lookup function, lookup table is showing horizontally rather than vertically. So that's why we're using H lookup. So in bonus, right here, column P, we're going to apply H lookup. But lookup table is in lookup worksheets. Okay, so if you see the lookup page, then you have those two area. One is H lookup area, the other is VLOOKUP area. Actually, that one I created as a table before, but just don't worry about it. I just should not have it. But I'm going to just remove this table, which is okay. There you go. And still, all right, so we're going to use this lookup range for the H lookup, okay? So right here, P2, here's what I had. H lookup, pay grade. So pay grade, we're going to determine bonus, but that depending on the pay grade. Pay grade is on H. So if you see that pay grade, you got 1, 2, 3, up to 4, I believe. So depending on what type of pay grade you have, then Then we're going to use a lookup table, which is located in lookup worksheets. That's E5 through H6. And row number 2, that's 2 stand for. And last variable would be false. Okay, because this is exact match, which is 1-to-1 match. Okay, so once we run it, then first couple of them will have a error because I think the pay grade is different. Pay grade is 0. I think that's why. So if you look at it, pay grade, the 0 is not appear in this table, right? In this lookup table. So that's why it's got error. Okay. So which is fine. But others have all those answers based on the HLOOKUP. All right. And next, which is column Q, now using any questions?
Could you show me a formula again?
Sure.
Okay. Okay, that's what thank you.
All right. Next one, health premium is determined by this time VLOOKUP range, which is given. I just showed it, a few minutes ago, but that depends on health plan, okay? Because health premium. So depending on what kind of health plan you may have already, right here, column K, see that all those health plans, so that'll find the match actually from here, right? So if your health plan is HMO, then you get 1,750, HMOI, PPO, so that's the premium based on plan. So that's what we're going to use for VLOOKUP. So here we go, VLOOKUP. Again, health plan is located in what's the column K, right? And then we have lookup table, then column number 2, false at the end, okay? Then you get 0 for first few, then you get whatever number based on health plan you chose. By the way, what they're gonna get for 0? For none. Some may not have no health plan at all. Let's take a look if that's the case. Yeah, as you can see, those 5 at the top have no health plan. So that's why it's got 0 over here, okay? All right, a word. How are we going to determine words? In a word column, use nested if. So a word is given based on different criteria, I guess. And there you go. This is the criteria to give out a word to employees. So that depends on number of years served. 10 to 14 years, 1,000, 6 to 9, 800, and so forth. Up to 1 to 2 years service, 350. Okay. So we're going to use the if function, but if will be nested within another if, like this. Right here. I think we had this one before, but so L2, that's the number of years served. Oops, I'm going too far. Right here, no years served. So that's what we're going to use. It's great if it's greater than 9, then immediately it's going to find X3, which is $1,000, right? Don't go too far. And L2 again is greater than 5. It's going to assign X4, checking again whether it's greater than 2, X5, checking again L2 is greater than 0, then it'll give you x3. Otherwise, what is x6? x6 is, let's just make sure this is 6, right? Yeah. Otherwise, 0 because it's the remaining, right? Remainder. So you don't have to open another if at the end because there's only one left, which is x7, right? Any questions about those?
A question.
Sure.
The with the 0, did we not put a function in for 0? Is that in there somewhere? So yours, well, I guess the year service was you didn't work, but maybe they worked there for 2 months. So but do we have to have anything in the formula for the 0?
No, they're all depending on what kind of data we have. So don't worry about this month or whatever, because all we have is all the years, not the month. So
Okay.
whatever is lower than 1, then it'll be 0. So that's why it's showing as a nothing. So
Okay, I also have a question.
yes.
Say for instance, I put in my formulas instead of putting X like $sign X, $7, I just put the dollar amount, say $1,000 or $800. Would that still be correct?
No, we don't want to use the hard numbers into formula. So anytime you want to use the formula, then it is strongly advised to use cell reference, which is like
Okay.
X3, X5, X4, right? Because
Okay.
that's so, you can make a mistake. And if you use a cell reference, there's a less chance of making mistake. So,
Okay.
all right. Okay, so let's move on to next tab. Now, we're going to work on count if, average if, sum if. That's from the module 7. So where is that? R summary, yeah, from the R summary. So we're going to use which worksheets? We're going to use a list again. Yeah, I believe so. So we're still using lists. So what we're trying to do is we're going to use a count if to count number of items. In this example, we're going to use the column F, which is location. So we have multiple locations like Austin, New Orleans, Nashville, those locations. So we're going to count it so that we can put it into here. Okay. So these are the locations we have, right? So we're going to count using count if function. Okay. Because in the different worksheets, and also have its criteria, which is, city or location name. So count if function will better than just using count. Okay, so that's why we have average salary. So we're going to use the average if for this one so that we can calculate average for location of Atlanta, Austin, and on so forth. Same thing. Total salary will be calculated using sum if for location of all those cities. Okay. So that's what we have. And I already started on count if. One thing different from count if, I think I should say count if, from average if and sum if. Count if requires only 2 variables. See that? That's the column from our summary. So let me show you. Let me just starting over so that I can show entire step. Okay. All right, count if. So we're going to count location name Atlanta. By the way, this is typos, but we're going to just use it as it is. So don't worry about it. So count if. So I'm going to go to list, and rather than just highlight, I'm going to just click at the top of column F so that the entire column F is selected, right? Then I'm going to just type it in comma, because that's what we need. Right after comma, we're going to have to select which location. So you can either type it in Atlanta like that, or just click the cell containing the word Atlanta. In this case, I'm going to do that. Just click it, go back to summary, our summary, then I'm going to click Atlanta. That contains the word instead of typing in. But there's an advantage for that. Okay, here we go. So we got only one item for Atlanta, which is, again, that's a typo, right? But the reason I'm using this cell reference rather than typing in location so that I can autofill. Right? See that? If I typed it in, this would not work. Because I have B4, right? In the first location. So that I can autofill it become B5, B6, B7, B8, which is natural, which is much easier than typing in location name. All right. Again, average if is a little different. Need one more variable. So let me show you. Average f. Starting with the same step, I'm going to go to list. I'm going to click the column F at the top, which is location column, comma, coming back to our summary. I'm going to click the location name, which is B4, comma, you need one more item that's from list, which is annual salary, so that Excel will calculate the total of the salary. So I'm going to select column J, which is annual salary at the top. So entire J is selected and press enter. And rest of the column D, I'll just autofill. So that I don't have to, do it all over. So there's the formula view. And sum if function is exactly same syntax, only difference is just typing in sum if instead of average if. The same syntax, go back, list, select location, comma, then again, I'm going to select B4, comma, back to list. I'm going to select annual salary, J, that's it. And I'm going to just autofill. All right. Any questions about count if, sum if, average if? All right. So that's step 11. Step 12. Now starting from step 12 and 13, actually, those two steps are creating pivot table. So pivot table is out of chapter 7, and pivot table is more of trial and error. It's not like a function or calculation we have done. So it's more of and try and see how you can create this output. So this is the output, and the right side, there's the area that you need to work with. So all you do is just select available column to show up like that. But in order to do that, you can show different calculation. Can be sum, average, and all those calculations can be available in the value section. So let me show this first one. So that's from the list again. So we're going to insert pivot table. So go to Insert tab, Pivot Table at the top, the very first icon from the left. Then you have two choices in terms of how you're going to save this. So you're going to save the new worksheets, or just you can put it into existing worksheets. Okay. So most likely it's going to be new worksheets. Okay. So I'm going to click OK. Then it'll give you this new worksheets. As you can see, this side, but I can make it bigger. This right pane cannot make it bigger. Only the middle area can be bigger. So it's kind of hard to see, but these columns are available from lists, from the employee ID, last name, all the way to, bonus and all that. Okay. So what we are doing with the pivot table is just select those available column and make it whatever outcome you want it. For example, I'm going to show location. So if you click location, you can actually drag it if you want it. So if you have it structure that you have in mind, for example, I want to show location in columns, then you can put it into column section. Then I want to show job status into rows. See that rows will go here. And location go columns. And then you need to show some numbers, right? So like annual salary, drag it and put it into value section. So Excel just determined the sum as a default. You can always change it. See that the value section, you click that, then you click value field setting, which is the last one. Then it'll give you item, it'll give you a list of statistics, sum, count, average, maximum, minimum. So depending on what you want to do, you just select it. Okay. Then you click OK. And at the same time, you can change the label. Okay, label appears in the actual pivot table. So if you want to show it as, for example, total annual salary, and you can just type it in this name box. Click OK. So it will show as total annual salary. And if you want to switch column and row, you can switch it. See that? It looks a little different, right? This time the location goes here, rows, then job status goes columns, right? So that's how you're going to use simple pivot table. Of course, you can put a lot of different categories, different columns. See that? This just make it very complex pivot table if you add more than 3 or 4. Even it's really hard to understand at some point. So you have job status over here, then you have location, you have job pay type even here, HNS. So that's how you're going to use this pivot table, but at some point there's only so many items you can add. Otherwise, it's a little bit hard to understand. So that's why we have it here in this example, okay? So this first pivot table, I think is more like, a little more like this. So what you're going to do is you can just try to interpret the prompt, but may not be best description without this screenshot, right? Assuming you don't have this screenshot. For example, without this screenshot, you're trying to interpret and create a pivot table with this prompt is not straightforward sometimes, right? So that's why I have it screenshot so that you can follow the screenshot at the same time the prompt. Okay, so if you have the screenshot, it's fairly easy. So all you do is just follow, trying to make it exactly same choice on these columns, right? But sometimes it may not show entire screenshot, because it's, as you can see that it's going to scroll up and down, then it's go over the screen. So it may not show all the choices you need to make. So that's why you need to follow the prompt at the same time, okay? Because it cannot show all those items. As you can see in this, you have kind of like 20 columns. So it's going over the screen. So, but anyways, that's something you need to pay attention to, the screenshot and prompt. Okay, in this example, I think we need to add a employee ID. So I'm going to click employee ID. Then what else I have? Only job, only location, no job status. I think it's switching the columns. And the employee ID must be count, right? It says, what was that again? Number of employees. So I'm going to make it number of employees. Then the calculation will be count. Oops. Right, number of employees and total annual salary for each location. So that's exactly what we have in this screenshot. Okay. The second pivot table, let's make it exactly like this by selecting hire date, job status, annual salary. So we're going to start over a new pivot table from list, insert, pivot table, new worksheets, OK. What was that we want to choose? Hire date, job status, annual salary. Hire date, job status, annual salary. And as you can see, it's kind of small. One thing different from here is that it show only month, right? From the date. So that's something we need to work on. Okay, so I'm going to go back Excel. And if you look at this area, it's kind of small, but if you look at this row section, all this thing crammed into rows. So we need to separate this job status. It looks like job status must be in columns. There you go. And also we need to have only month, right? So as you can see, first one is years, quarters, month, hire date. So that we can throw off all others except month. So I'm going to just throw off, remove it. See that the only left is just month, as you can see in this background. See that only month? So all those years, date are gone because you just removed them. Okay. Then we have a sum of annual salary here. Is that exactly same? Yeah. I think it's same from the screenshot. And one thing we can do is we can add chart based on this pivot table. That's what we call pivot chart. So pivot chart is right here in pivot table analyze tab. See the pivot chart? Or if you just couldn't remember what just got lost, you can always go to insert and create a chart from here, right? So which is same thing. So again, on the pivot table analyze tab, you click pivot chart, then just close the column chart is okay, and we just insert it right there. All right, so again, just creating pivot table is just something you need to try, but depending on where you're going to put those columns into column sections or row section or value section. In value section, you need to determine what kind of calculation you're going to do. Sum, count, average, maximum, minimum, and all that. And as well as number format. If you click this number format button, you can format the number based on whether it's currency, date, and time, and all that. Okay. All right, so that's the pivot table. Did I miss anything? All right, so that's step 13. Step 14 is just I ask you to enter random data. So I think that's it for this set of question. And we also have fleet. Somehow I think I didn't attach the question for this fleet, but rather pretty much straightforward if I can explain. So what we have here is, again, this is the fleet. It's supposed to be, using consolidating multiple worksheets, okay? But those worksheets are exactly same layout. As you can see, January, February, March, all the way to December. Has the exactly same structure. Otherwise, this grouping would not work. Okay. So summary worksheets, that's where we're going to consolidate. Okay. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to have to summarize all those worksheets January to December by group them. Okay. So here's what I'm going to do it. Rather than doing one at a time, I'm going to just group January to December. Then I'm going to enter all those calculations and formats. So I'm going to start from January. Then I press the keyboard, the shift, and hold it. Then I'm going to click December. So the January to December are selected. That's what we call grouping. Then I'm going to do just total revenue, that simple sum function. Then I'm going to just autofill all the way. And column D, difference, meaning forecast actual difference. So actual comes later, right? So you subtract it. Subtract forecast from actual. More like this is this year and actual is next year. Okay, so you take actual minus forecast. So that's the difference. And there you go. Don't worry about the number, looks weird, but it comes back later on. Percent change, what we're trying to do is we're trying to see this difference, how much is this percentage of difference out of forecast, I believe. I think that's the wording, yeah. So we try to find that this difference is percentage out of forecast, okay. So it's going to be division. Take D5 and divide by forecast. And make sure that it is also division, which is E11, right? And let's check February, March. think it is fine. Yeah, I think it'll turn out fine once we switch to summary. Anything else we need to do? Well, let's just do the calculation. So let's go back to summary. Then once I click outside of this grouping, the group will be released. Okay. Now let's check January. See, everything looks good, but still the numbers are exactly same. If they should comes back. We'll see what's going to happen. Okay. Now, we're going to just consolidate, meaning that we're going to add January to December into this summary. So this particular cell, which is B5, is adding January, February, all the way to December. So that's like a combining 12 cells into one. Okay. So rather than doing manually, we're going to do the same thing, 3D reference, by grouping all those worksheets. Okay. To do that, starting B5 in summary, type equals sum, opening parenthesis. Then I'm going to group January to December. Then I'm going to click B5 because that's the one we're going to add. There you go. So this is the formula view. If you can memorize the formula, the January to December exclamation B5, you can enter manually, that's fine. But, you more likely make a mistake if you try to fill it in all those, how many is it? 16 cells. So that's why we are going back and forth. But good thing about this is we can autofill. Okay, we don't have to do it 17 more times. We do autofill, then will be pretty simple. Just like that. Autofill downwards. There you go, as you can see. And by the way, I didn't change the percent format. I should make it percent format here in column E. Again, going back to summary, percent change, we can do the same thing. I can do autofill, but then the number will be messed up. Remember that percentage was division, right? You cannot add all the divisions, then it'll make number really big. So you need to calculate from current status. So I'm going to just use this like what we had before. There you go. Then just make it percent rather than just decimals. Okay, there you go. And here's the formula view. So if you do autofill, if you do grouping all those worksheets, it's going to take only a few minutes to complete. But if you try to do manually by entering or adding one by one, it's going to take a long time. Any questions about this? Okay, let's see. I think that's about it. We have all those functions. We have a pivot table. We have COUNTIF, SUMIF, AVERAGEIF, and multiple worksheets. Yeah. Okay, so any questions? Anybody?
You'll be posting this video soon, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll do it.
Thank you.
Sure. Anything else? Okay, so if you have any questions, before the test or anything else you have in mind, just let me know. And the semester is winding down, and check your grade as well. Just go to GoView and check your grades, and let me know if you see any oversights. And have a nice one. Have a nice Thanksgiving.
Thank you. You too.
Okay. See you next time.
Okay.